Hey, what is up, guys? My name is Soldiers, and today we're back again for another video of Project Star. And I've been seeing a lot of your comments on the previous tier list, and I have been giving it some more thought into it, and I will be releasing an updated one of those pretty soon, and all of that cool stuff. But first off is I want to be explaining to you guys some of the rates in the game and stuff like that, and what I have personally experienced. And of course, others might have experienced a completely different thing about getting their way better stands. I don't know, I have this one on at the moment, but out of my personal experiences in the game, I want to put emphasis on the personal. I think that unusual arrows are better than gleaming, but other people might have pulled the world out of gleaming or star platinum out of gleaming and stuff like that. But I've pulled everything that I have gotten out of this game out of this very overpowered unusual arrow. And they are quite easier to get, and they are easily identifiable. They look like a gleaming arrow, they just don't sparkle like one. They don't have the little moving animation or anything like that. But I have been going over a couple of things and looking deeper into the game, and I haven't really been leveling up as much as I usually do because I haven't personally been on this as much lately. But I will be providing some better experiences. Like, I pulled Prime Star Platinum the world out of an unusual arrow. I pulled my powerful Magician's Red out of an unusual arrow with the skin. I pulled Star Platinum out of my unusual arrow. I pulled my Strong Anubis out of my unusual arrow. I think you get the point now. But I just think that I get a better understanding the more I play this and stuff like that. And of course, you guys have been blowing up my tier list video. It has 7,000 views. That's completely insane. Of course, there are some comments that I have been reading about Horus and how much better he is than I had originally thought and used him as. When I first used him on day one of the game, he was really not that great. But as the comments said, that he is a whole lot better than what I made him out to be. But today I'm going to be explaining to you guys in this video is about your trees. Okay, so basically this all depends on your personal preference and how you play the game, but I'm going to be giving you some of my insight on how you should place your skill points in here. Now, I've been fighting a lot of bosses, a lot of hard bosses, and I've even soloed a lot of excuse me, I've even soloed world bosses in my private server. Now, this is kind of the build that I have for my character at the moment. I have Vitality 5. I have Regen 4. I don't have anything in my merits because I'm not too sure what they do, and I'm not going to give you false information about what they do either. I have 1 Ragdoll resistance, 4 defense, and I have 2 ability. All right, and of course I could easily allocate more of my skill points to this, but you want to typically have, depending on the stand that you are using, you want to typically have pretty close to 50 skill points to allocate to that. But as for the lower levels, it's harder to get. So I really want to just explain here in the skill tree what you want to be focusing on as far as your build. Now, you want to get to Vitality 3. All right, and that's not just because to get to your health faster. It's because you can start unlocking this regen tree that really helps you out. Now, I think that Regen 4 for me is personally the sweet spot because it gets faster the more you unlock up here. But as far as my experience, Regen 4 is kind of like the base spot of where I should stop at my level. And of course, if you guys don't have a lot of skill points, it's going to be harder to get to that higher regen and stuff like that, because you need a total of, let's see, well, how many we got here? We got 7 here, so you need 7 times 2, so you need 14 skill points just to get, or 15 skill points just to get to Regen 4. All right, actually no, sorry about that. you need 16 skill points to get to regen 4. All right, so you don't have to unlock your origin, so you just 1, 2. Okay, no, it is 14. I was right because these only cost 1. All right, so 1, 2, 4, and so on and so forth. All right, so you need 14 skill points just to get to regen 4. Now that is kind of demanding with how the level works, but if you do watch my previous video on this game, you can go ahead and check out my tutorial on what I think is the best way to level up, at least until level 30, and then you can continue to complete your story in that regard to really boost your level in the highest amount of possible. You do not need 2 times EXP, and you do not need any kind of boost or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But all that good stuff, and I really think that you guys should really be focusing on these regens and trying to get to these as soon as possible, because when you're in a long lasting fight, it does go a long way. And of course, the same applies to defense. I don't necessarily have a lot of defense in my skill tree because they are a little more expensive on the skill point side. And then I only have 1 Ragdoll resistance because this is kind of demanding as far as reaching out there for my skill points. But you definitely want to save at least half or over half of your skill points for your stands, because they can also provide a lot of buffs. Like we can just dig into Anubis for an example here. So we can go ahead and unlock all of his skills. We'll get Piercing Strike, and then we'll get Curse Strike, and then we won't be getting Untouchable. I think that counters are really, really good, but personally I would rather have that poison damage that deals extra damage, stuff like that, because this, even without the buffs, this does last a very, very long time. So besides that, of course we can get into the combat tree, but you need a combat ability such as Vampire, or I shouldn't say Hamon because it's the same thing. Hamon kind of branches off in everything, but you can have Cars, you can have Wamu. I think that's what I believe that's what they call it. You can have all these sort of combat abilities, and this kind of applies to the same thing. If you'd rather focus on a combat tree, then I wouldn't so much focus on your stand if you feel comfortable with a combat tree and stuff like that. But as far as the character's tree goes, this is kind of how I have my build at level 45 currently, and it works out perfectly for me. Now, of course, for the harder dungeons, like if you go to the zombie dungeon, that is ridiculously hard. You might have to reach into these defense 5, defense 6, and all that good stuff. Or yeah, defense 5, defense 6, and all these good stuffs over here. That is absolutely bonkers. Now, of course, you can leave down below about how you believe it works, and then people can put that together and stuff like that. But I definitely hope people kind of reach into the regen side of stuff, and it's just as good if you reach into the defensive side, because if you have more defense, you don't need much regen. But if you have a good amount of regen, then you don't need as much defense. I think it kind of goes hand in hand as far as this game goes. And as far as it progresses, they have a pretty awesome update coming out that I've seen in the server so far, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out. But personally, I think I'd kind of split it half and half with kind of the defensive regen, because they both go hand in hand, and your overall combat ability really, really powers out. Now, of course, you can, if you're a really, really big grinder and you just want to collect items, you can reach into this ability tree a little bit more, dashing tree even, and that way you can just collect items faster. But of course, there are other ways to just do that, like playing normally and just kind of walking around and all that good stuff. And I will be showing you guys some of the better areas that you can also go to get stuff like that in a later video, and all of the best locations I think it is to find items and stuff like that. But overall, I want to just kind of break down their skill tree and all that good stuff. Now, there are stands that demand more skill points, and there are stands that you can max out with 50 skill points. All right, the games like that. There are several games that are usually like that. You can really, really really base your skill points off of certain things, but you really want to place them very, very smartly in your skill tree, because if you just throw it all in the stand, your character is going to be slow. He's going to not take as many hits. But if you put too much in your character tree, then your stand is going to be completely useless and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's lots of videos about how you can put points in there and certain builds that you can use. But if you want to reset those skill points, you got to hand over the Chitta-Chang. All right, Mysterious Roca, 70 Robux. All right, really not that bad, 99 cents. But some people like to prefer to play free. So I just wanted to give an insight on how I've played free without using any boosts and stuff like that for my skill tree and stuff. So I don't want to keep this video too long, and I don't want to talk for 10 straight minutes because I know it's really, really boring. But I just wanted to give you guys a kind of grasp on how you should place your skill tree and stuff like that, and all that good stuff. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys found it helpful. And leave down below in the comments about any questions you have, and I'll answer them as soon as I can and stuff like that. And I will be releasing an updated tier list on some of the stuff as the game progresses. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. Show your support and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.